Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about 4 ways that the project manager can add value on the project. And this video is brought to you by Cevis, makers of several products including Cevis Project Viewer, which I'll talk to you about shortly. But right now I'd like to talk to you about 4 ways that my ideas of the ways the project manager can add value to the project. I'm sure there's many more, and I'd love to hear from all of you viewing this on your thoughts on these 4 ways and other ways that you've come up with for the project manager to add value through their own actions on the project. The first one is keeping the budget down. I'll go into these in more detail in a moment. The second one is using cost-effective project scheduling and collaboration tools on the project, because the tools we use do cost money on the project, obviously. Looking for non-monetary ways to resolve issues on the project. And the fourth one would be keeping your executive management team informed and up to date on the status of the project, and I'll explain that one as well. First, let's look at keeping the project budget down. One way to do that, I've got a couple of key ways to do that. One is to minimize the project management travel. Most of the projects in professional services organizations that I've worked on have the project manager priced out at the highest rate on the project. Tech leads, data specialists, etc. are priced lower. Project manager is oftentimes the highest priced project resource. And by minimizing the involvement on an issue that you're trying to resolve, the project manager's time on the issue you're trying to resolve can keep the cost down. For instance, I've sent tech leads to on-site customer location to resolve an issue, and when I normally would have gone, if there were concerns with the budget or concerns with keeping the customer happy, I've stepped back if I wasn't necessarily needed to actually be there, and kept the cost down that way. For instance, if it was going to be a 3-day on-site visit and I would have charged 24 hours or something for that, or more maybe, my involvement may have been reduced by staying remote to 3 or 4 hours on the phone, some other oversight of the team. I may have reduced my effort to 8 hours and no travel, therefore costing the project maybe $1,000 instead of $6,000 or $7,000. Another way to keep costs down on the project is to make sure that you onboard and remove staff as efficiently as possible. Don't onboard resources before they're needed. Make sure you remove idle staff when they're not needed or when their efforts are over with, because everybody's looking at utilization figures in professional service organizations, and if you've got highly skilled, expensive resources onboarded too early in the project, or you've left them on the project after their tasks are over, they're still looking to make sure that they're 85, 90, 95, 100% utilized. They've got to charge their time somewhere, and they may end up charging your project. So keep them on the project only when you need them, take them off when you don't need them, and it'll keep costs down, I guarantee it. Second item is using cost-effective collaboration and scheduling software. Microsoft Project is king, of course, as I've discussed before, but it's expensive, and your customer may or may not have access to it, or they may have one license in it and your sponsor doesn't have it. Your team, likewise, may not have it. Your tech lead may not have a license for it. You've got to get one for them. Now, you can get around that by using a tool. I mean, there's dozens of web-based project management scheduling tools out there, some of them free, some of them low cost. One thing I found if I'm using Microsoft Project for the scheduling tool, is using Cevis Project Viewer, which is the only project viewing software that uses Microsoft Project schedules and allows you to share them without requiring a server installation. So you can use your Microsoft Project scheduling software as you would, but if your team and customer doesn't have it, you can still share the files. They can still collaborate with you in real time and update their tasks to you, give you progress updates, but they don't actually have to add the software themselves, and it's a fraction of the cost of a Microsoft Project license. So that Cevis Project Viewer, you want to check it out at www.cevisprojectviewer.com. It's SEAVUS projectviewer.com. You can contact them. You can download a free trial or demo it. Third item is looking for non-monetary ways to resolve issues on the project. And by that, I mean maybe moving phases around on the project. You might have to do some negotiation with the customer on that. But if the customer's requiring, all of a sudden you get into the project and you're 3 months in and they're requiring some functionality to happen right now because of the change in requirements on their side, rather than month 7, and if you're looking at a phase that was going to happen later and have to move it up, you might be able to negotiate with them and remove functionality that was going to happen now to move it to later and move that needed functionality to now, and basically not impact the cost on the project. Because if you don't do some moving around to functionality like that, what you're going to do is you're going to add resources now to ramp up to get that functionality in, and you're going to cost the project a lot of money as you add resources. It may or may not be effective, but it's going to definitely up your project budget. You can also look at swapping out like price resources. If you don't need this functionality now, but you need something else done immediately, make sure offload a resource, bring on a similar price resource to get that functionality or issue resolved now for the customer, and you can minimize their expenses, the cost to the budget, project budget that way. You can also look at, if it's a kind of a close call and you're doing fine profitability wise in the project, you can talk to your executive management, get the okay to do some work for free, and that way you can keep the customer happy. You may or may not accept responsibility for the issue, but you're not charging to the project budget, or you're giving away a portion of the work for free. And again, I don't recommend doing that without the okay of your executive management. You certainly don't want to do it unless your project is very profitable at the moment. The fourth item is keeping your executive team apprised of the project status. The reason for this is if they're up to date on the status and you run into a roadblock, they can jump on the project and knock down roadblocks for you right away. If there's an issue to be resolved, they can help you resolve it. If you need a resource quickly, they can help you get that resource on the project. And something that maybe would normally take a month or 2 to resolve may only take you a couple of weeks if you can get their help in getting it resolved quickly. Again, that's my 4 items, and you might have others that would, hello, hi Jack. That's my 4-year-old who just walked by. You might have others that you can think of, and feel free to share or respond back on your feedback on these items, but these are my 4 top items for quickly adding value as a project manager by staying abreast and using best practices and smart project management. Thank you.